I sometimes find that design styles, say something like coastal or of course the much maligned farmhouse, have a potential to turn into a theme when they are not used judiciously. You know what I mean? Hi everyone, it's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, today we are doing another edition of things that make your home look dated. You guys really loved the first video. I don't plan on going into anything as controversial as ceiling fans in this video. For the record, by the way, I didn't say don't have a ceiling fan. I said ditch the old outdated ones. There's a difference, because I can tell you that was controversial. Hell hath no fury like telling a woman from Florida that she can't have an ugly ceiling fan. But in this video, I'm going to be going over 5 other things that make your home look dated. These are things that maybe have been kicking around for several years and they're really starting to date your place, and you might want to consider upgrading or changing them out. And don't worry, I've got your back, because for every single one of these, I'm going to present you with an alternative that is a little bit more modern, a little bit more chic, and will make your place look beautiful. Okay, things that make your home look dated. Number 1 is linoleum. So if you're not familiar, linoleum is a material that comes on a roll. It is a sheet, it's rolled out like a rug. It feels like it's rolled out like a carpet, and it's kind of got that spongy, squishy material. You used to see it a lot in the 80s and in the 70s, and it just feels very, very dated now. Sometimes it comes really patterned, which can be a problem because you're really drawing attention to a material on your floor that is cheap, and quite noticeably cheap, because it is one of the cheaper options. People used to always put this in their kitchens. I used to see them all the time. We had it in our house back in the 80s, and it's just a very, very cheap material, and it feels cheap. And so drawing so much attention to it, is just really making your place look super, super dated. Now, here's some alternatives if you do have linoleum or you're thinking about it. I would say luxury vinyl plank or laminate would be really good options. If you're looking to spend a little bit more money, engineered hardwood is another great option, as well as, of course, tile. So if you're really thinking about doing it in the kitchen and you don't want to put hardwood in, go with something like tile. Tile is timeless, so is engineered hardwood. They're also going to add to the resale of your space, while linoleum is definitely going to detract. So I think if you have linoleum and you're looking to increase resale, subbing out for some of these more modern, updated options are really going to increase the value of your home. They're also just going to look more beautiful, more chic, more updated. Ditch the linoleum. Okay, something else that is making your home look dated is tile countertops. So these were really popular in the 70s and 80s, and there are some serious problems with them. First of all, there's kind of hygiene issues. Like, grout is very porous, and so, grout, probably not a great idea to have all those grout lines right there on your countertop. So that's like rule number 1, is just like, this is a hygiene red flag for me on this one. But also, these were super popular sort of back, as I said, in the 70s, 80s, and we still saw them in the 90s, of course, because people don't renovate that quickly, and we still saw them over and over again, and they just look super, super dated. They can also be really prone to cracking, as well as prone to different chips. A chip tile, once you've already put it down on your entire countertop, can be really, really difficult to change. This is a trend that we're probably not going to see coming back. So I would say if you have tiled countertops, consider changing them. Okay, so other alternatives that might work for you. If you're looking in the budget category, I would say butcher block is great, because again, wood has sort of a timeless appeal, and in the right space, I think that's really kind of warm and comfortable, can work really, really well. You might want to go for laminate if budget is really an issue. Laminate countertops have some advantages. They are definitely cost effective. I would go for something kind of really simple, say in black, white, gray, whatever. I wouldn't necessarily go for something like a marble effect, because I've talked about this on this channel before, but like, you're not fooling anybody with a marble effect on laminate. I would say going for something really clean and simple is a great budget alternative. Of course, if you want to spend a little bit more money, going for quartz, going for granite, going for marble, assuming that you're able to take care of it and do all the sealing and the work that comes with the natural stone, obviously is beautiful. So you got the natural stone options, and you've also got the quartz option as well. So those are kind of your more expensive options if you're really looking to an upgrade. But if you're looking at butcher block and laminate, those can be really, really cool and great options that are more affordable, but ditch the tile countertops. There's hygiene issues. It's a busy pattern on your countertop. Like, you don't need this. Time for it to go. But I will also add that if you really like the look of tile, consider a tile backsplash. There is nothing wrong with a tile backsplash. To me, the backsplash, it's not the high traffic area, so it's not going to have the same issues as you would have if it's on the countertop. The countertop is, of course, a much more used surface of your kitchen. So if you really love the look of tile, consider it for a backsplash for sure, but I would avoid it on the countertops. Number 3 on my list of things that make your home look dated is the toilet seat cover and matching rug combo. Now, I talked about colored carpets in my last video, and I even talked about it in the bathroom. which, speaking of hygiene issues, is disgusting. And of course, its equally offensive baby brother, the toilet seat cover and matching rug combo, is also really not good because, again, we're dealing with the same hygiene issues we just talked about. Here's the thing, we all know what you're using the toilet for. You can dress it up all you want, it's a toilet. I think going for a toilet that is just clean and minimal. I personally am not a big fan of the worm. I would say, you know, that little worm on the side, I'm not a fan of that. Personally, I like toilets that are just really clean and simple. We all know that we have a toilet. There's no need to hide it, and there's no need to fluff it up. Like, we know what the toilet is used for. The jig is up. It doesn't matter. Just stick it in the corner, have your toilet, and don't dress it up and make it like a little fluffy creature. So this is just something that is very, very out. This is something that people do not do anymore. And if you have this in your home, I can guarantee you your guests are judging you for it. If I go in and someone's got a fluffy cover on their, I mean, let's be honest, it's usually not like in isolation. It's usually like the rest of the house is a certain look if you're in a house that has a fluffy toilet seat cover. But it's just one example of a way that your house is being dated. So if you have one of these, get rid of it. If you know someone that has one of these, send them this video. These need to go. Okay, so things that make your home look dated, number 4. This one, if this is the ceiling fan of this video, this is the one that you are all going to revolt. Some of you still love this, by the way, but that's okay. We're all entitled to our opinions here. So that would be popcorn ceiling. So popcorn ceiling, if you're not familiar, is the dotted spray that they basically just spray on top of your ceiling. My understanding is that it is still being used because it's very builder friendly, because it is cheap. It's really, really easy to just kind of spray out the popcorn ceiling and not have to sort of clean and sand and make sure that you've kind of eliminated as many of the imperfections as you can on the ceiling. That is a much more difficult thing to do. So a lot of people will just go in, and builders especially, will just go in and spray the ceiling. This is something that I think was really popular back in the day. I think it really dates your home, and I think that there is nothing quite like a beautiful, clean, flat ceiling that just has like a matte paint that's super, super flat and just like makes your, it just like totally sets off your whole space to have a really beautiful, clean, flat roof. The popcorn ceiling, I mean, it attracts shadows, so it makes your place feel darker and more closed in. It's super hard to sort of paint and refresh. So like once it's put on there, like good luck ever painting it. If you get any scuffs or marks on it, it becomes a lot more difficult to paint and sort of refresh later on down the road. It ends up flaking off. If you ever see popcorn ceiling and you just run your finger, like you can just, dust will just fall down on your furniture. And if you think it happens when you're rubbing your finger, it's happening all the time. And of course, it's also just plain ugly. I'm not gonna lie, that's just my opinion, but there you go. That's my last point. The thing is that ceilings have just such a potential to make a really big impact on a space. People don't really consider your ceiling. They look at their flooring and they look at their furniture, but then they kind of just forget. But remember that when you walk into a space, you're moving your eyes side to side, you're moving them up and down, and sometimes people forget that those ceilings are really, really important. They are a really big part of design, and oftentimes I think they're one of the most forgotten about spaces of a design. There is so much potential to do something really interesting and cool on your ceilings if you can, but popcorn ceiling is just not one of them. And shout out, by the way, to all my renters that are watching, because I have been there, because I lived with popcorn ceilings for probably about 10, 15 years. I get it, there's nothing you can really do about it, so that sucks, and you have my sympathy. But it is definitely a little bit more of an expensive thing to get somebody to come in and scrape the popcorn ceiling off your ceiling and then do something really super gorgeous and flat. It is an expensive option, but I think it's worth it. It's going to increase the value of your home. It's gonna make it a lot more modern, a lot more chic to go for a really beautiful flat ceiling. Okay, next on my list, the things that make your home look dated, is themed rooms. Okay, so there is a difference between what I'm going to call a themed room versus a design style. So I sometimes find that design styles, say something like coastal or of course the much maligned farmhouse, have a potential to turn into a theme when they are not used judiciously. You know what I mean? I would say if you're going to go for something like a modern coastal look or a farmhouse look, subtlety is really key in these sorts of design styles, because if it gets too far, it can start to turn into a theme. And there has been times in our history of design where themed rooms were incredibly popular. And so I think they make your space automatically look really, really dated. So I point out coastal and farmhouse because I think those are the two styles that get used a lot in these themed rooms. Specifically looking at you, coastal bathroom, with the seashells and the coconut soap from Bath & Body Works. You got the seashells, you got the conch shell, or you've got the coral, and you've got all this stuff around the space, and it just looks a little too on the nose, a little too themey. Farmhouse, I'm looking at you in the kitchen, because we've all seen when, you know, the farm, the pigs and the cows can just absolutely take over a kitchen, and everything is themed, and it's too much. It makes it look really, really dated. So I think if you're really looking for a particular theme, but you want to draw on it more subtle ways, using things like color and texture naturally in a space are going to be far more effective than the really super on the nose stuff. So introducing things like soft, heavily tinted teals or white into a bedroom if that's appropriate for you. But if you're just going to go for a big giant anchor over the top of your bed, it's not going to look subtle, and it's going to look a little bit too in your face and just look really dated very quickly. So really choosing things sparingly to bring into your space, you know, using color, using texture, and subtle nods to a certain style or a design style is going to be far more effective than going for that really heavy-handed theme look that just is looking really, really dated and straight out of the 90s. That's it for me for today, you guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video, and we all had fun here, so let's not all take it too seriously, but I hope you got some value out of this video. I'm gonna link here to my 5 things that make your home look dated part 1, where we talk about the aforementioned ceiling fans, and you can see the comment section. So, see you in that video. Bye.